Real Talk with Grace Redman features conversations with fierce and fabulous people from Grace's community and circle who inspire others with their stories of overcoming challenges to create amazing. Grace is an entrepreneur and success coach who works with individuals to diminish their negative mental chatter, boost their confidence, achieve their goals, and increase their prosperity mindset. Get ready for a series of anything goes conversations with remarkable men and women that will get you jazzed for life's unlimited possibilities of success, freedom, and fun. Welcome to Real Talk with Grace Redman.
Hey loves, thank you so much for joining us on another episode of Real Talk, where I get to have real life, raw conversations with incredible people from my circles and communities who overcome challenges and create amazing. As always, please like, share, and subscribe because you never know who might need to hear the words of our next incredible guest. Our guest today is a powerhouse in the world of media, entrepreneurship, and beauty. Originally from Detroit, Bianca Bee moved to Los Angeles at the age of 17 to attend film school. While studying, she gained incredible experience working with major media giants like the Oprah Winfrey Network, TMZ, VH1, E! News, and the Steve Harvey Show. Her journey then took her to New York City, where she became a booking producer for the Mel Robbins Show, the Nick Cannon Daytime Talk Show, and Fox Weather. At the age of 19, Bianca launched her own talk show, shining a spotlight on young entrepreneurs and interviewing celebrities. Passionate about giving back, she also founded the Bianca Bee Foundation, which empowers at-risk youth and young women by providing opportunities for life advancement. On top of that, she's the author of the 20s Chronicles and Plot, Plan, and Slay. But Bianca didn't stop there. Her passion for beauty led her to create BFF Cosmetics company. Bianca's a true innovator in the beauty space. She has collaborated with major brands like Fenty Beauty, Ipsy, Galore, and Rolling Out. Bianca has been recognized with the Young Entrepreneur Award from the Small Marketing Business Association. She's a mover, a shaker, and an inspiration to so many. Please help me welcome Bianca Bee.
God, that was so cute. Thank you. Hi.
You're amazing.
Thank you. I love that. Hearing that out loud was amazing.
Well, I mean, you've done so many incredible things, had so many incredible accomplishments at such a young age. It's inspiring.
Thank you. I appreciate it so much.
Oh, my pleasure. I'm so excited to have you and to chat with you today. And I wanted, to start with, first of all, I just noticed we're dressed the same.
Yes, we're both wearing white.
I just noticed that before I felt my puffy sleeves and put my jacket on. So, you came out to LA when you were 17 years old. Mm-hmm. What inspired you and motivated you to make such a big decision at such a young age?
When I was around 15, 16, I actually read Teen Secret. It's basically a teen version of The Secret. And so my mom got me that book and I just kept saying, I'm going to move to LA. I'm going to move to LA, really, really young. And I finally made that decision at 17 when it was time to figure out college. I just knew it was LA for me or nothing. I knew I didn't want to stay in Michigan. I was very adamant about that. And so my mom, we got ourselves together. We got accepted. I say we because it was like a us project, I feel like. And I ended up moving to LA and going to film school. And I studied for 4 years, got my bachelor's degree, and kind of just hustled and grind my way to where I am today.
So, and I want to talk to you about that because we've talked about this before. Both of us are hustlers and grinders, and we're manifestors. Yeah. So how does that go hand in hand? Because I know a lot of people who manifest or have read The Secret, they believe that you just sit back and it comes to you. Whereas we've talked about this, we're hustlers and grinders and manifestors. How do you integrate the two?
I think I'm just not naturally a lazy person. I have to be productive. And so with manifestation, being intentional, I feel like has always been the key for me. When I write something down, I'm very intentional and I'm in my safe space and a sacred space with just myself, my pen, and God. And so for me, I just write down what I want. I'm very specific about what I want, but I also doing the steps to make that happen. So you can always have like a vision, you can have a vision, but you also have to have action steps. And I think for me, you know, having those action steps play into play, you know, like I can manifest anything. But you know, the thing about manifestation is it comes when you least expect it. It comes when you're about to be like, oh, like I'm trying. Like this is something like I've learned that you can't just be too attached to what you're manifesting or trying to manifest, or you're gonna pivot and go so many different ways. But to answer your question, like I'm just naturally, you know, just work. I have a strong work ethic, but manifestation just, you know, makes it better.
I love that. And I love that you just said, you know, you talked about detaching from the outcome. And that's not easy to do. So how do you detach from the outcome?
I think just with growth and age, honestly, I'm just not desperate. I don't give desperate energy anymore. Like I need that. I just feel like what's meant for me will happen. And I always have that mindset. And I may manifest something super big and then have multiple steps to get to that big thing, if that makes sense.
Yes.
So, you know, I just try to like not get emotionally attached to things. And then especially being in the media space, you learn to just with business in general, you just learn to not take it personal and that it will happen when it's supposed to happen and what's meant for you will happen.
I love that because that to me speaks to your faith.
Yeah.
And just, you know, having the certainty that what's meant to be for you is for you, regardless of what's going on out in the moment. That's magical. That's really magic. Yeah. I feel like you begin to create from a place of excitement or a place of certainty as opposed to a place of fear.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, I try to my best to not be fearful, like just go for it. That's always been my motto and I'll figure it out after.
Right. So, but and what happens when that fear does creep up? You know, what type of, you know, how do you reframe? How do you do that when that fear creeps up? What steps do you take to move through it?
I go back to listening to podcasts like this, you know, listening to audiobooks, listening to people who are already successful and where I strive to be. Listen to those like types of information so I don't go down a, you know, a rabbit hole of that imposter syndrome and, you know, those negative thoughts. I like to just make sure I'm feeding myself with information that makes me get back to that space of, okay, I can reach this goal. I can do this. I can manifest that.
Yes, I'm with you. And I have that self-doubt creep up, the imposter syndrome. And then I remind myself, okay, that's the adversary, you know, trying to get to me. And same thing, I go back, I have conversations like this. I reach out to great people like yourself. And when I connect to like-minded people, it reminds me to continue moving forward.
Yes, absolutely.
I appreciate you. I love having
Yes,
conversations, especially
I
with
know.
you.
I know, like even when we did our first interview, like I just felt attached to you. I don't know why. I just felt like, oh, we're gonna be cool. Yeah.
I feel the same way because you're amazing and you show up. You constantly are showing up and you're being of service and you're giving back, which is really a big piece of the success.
Yeah.
It's a boomerang effect.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And so one thing I want to, you know, touch base with you on, because you have an incredible, you know, social media presence. And I know it's not easy to constantly create content and create a brand. What advice would you give to someone who wants to get into their industry and they know they need to have a presence, they want to create a brand, but it feels overwhelming? What advice would you share with them?
I would say if you're a perfectionist, let it go. Like if you're someone who is a perfectionist, it's not going to always be perfect, and
No.
that's okay. But if you put that content out there, it will thrive. You know, as long as you're showing up and being authentically you. I've seen some of the best, you know, motivational speakers go on their social media and be authentically them, raw, no makeup, because people want to feel like they know you And then you can launch any brand. If you have a social media site or Instagram, TikTok, whatever you have, being authentically you will show through the internet, and people will want to be like you and want to be in your world and be in your space. So just be authentically you. I mean, there's no other way. Like, I have bad days. People have
Yeah.
been on the journey with me on YouTube of me vlogging from moving to New York, LA to New York, and back and forth. And, people have been super supportive. So I just say be authentically you.
And I agree, and I love that because
Yeah.
energy doesn't lie, and people can pick up on the energy if it's fake.
Yeah.
And when you say authentically you, what does that mean? Because we use the word
Mm.
authentic so often. What does it mean?
I think being truly yourself and being honest with the world of sharing your story. You don't have to tell everybody all your business, but
Right.
you never know which soul you can touch by
Yes.
your story. So when I say being authentically you, it's not creating this personality that is completely over the top lavish, and it just comes off fake. If
Right.
I don't know, I can't explain it, but that's a great question. But
No, but I get it because something that I've thought about, like, okay, being authentic. I mean, I love what you said. Being authentic doesn't mean you show up and you just spill everything out. 'Cause I think we all deserve a sense of privacy, and we
yeah.
get to be discerning. And what I've learned is being authentic for me means I'm being authentic with myself and
Mhm.
honest with myself. And then that's how I show up with my audience. It doesn't mean that I just spill my entire life story in one moment.
Right.
It just means, you know, being authentic to who I am, like you said.
Exactly. Yeah, absolutely.
Because
And
energy
I'm
can
all yeah, it doesn't. It doesn't. Like, my parents and my family and friends on social media know if I'm not posting, something is wrong.
oh my God, girl, that is also me. If I'm not posting, it's because I don't want to. I'm not inspired. I have something going on. And I've learned that that's okay. I really
Mhm.
only, post from, authentically when I'm inspired. I don't do it on a consistent basis. I mean, I do the
Yeah.
podcast consistently, but there's some days I don't feel like it.
Yeah.
And so that's what I've been doing.
Yeah.
And so what would you share with someone who, I know they say being consistent, you have to post every day.
Yeah.
What would you say to that?
Once again, it will show up that you're not happy. You like, your mental sanity is the most important thing. And if you're not
Yes,
inspired, like, don't do it. Like, take a
exactly.
week, take a month. And sometimes you need to detach from what you're seeing online too.
I
Sometimes
agree.
you need to go into a silent place, go more out in nature to get inspired to create. It is an everyday thing, and there's so many different social platforms that you have to market differently, and we can become overwhelmed. Like, it can become overwhelming, especially if you're new to the space, like, and trying to put yourself out there. But find your niche, find your tribe, and it will happen organically.
Yes, I appreciate that. And I love how you said, like, it's okay to step away, take a break, recharge and come back. I've done, over a 9-year period, I've done that many times.
Yeah.
And I've also just seen social media evolve and change. And it's a very crowded space.
It is very much so.
It's
Yeah.
very different than it was 9 years ago, 2 years ago, a year
Mhm.
ago.
Yeah.
What would you say? Because now, you would say it's crowded, there's so many people. How do you stand out?
Mm. So when I started the Bianca Bee Show, I had a lavish set. I started back in 2013. This was over 10 years ago, when there was no space. Like, no, people at school thought I was crazy. Like, what is this girl doing? And now, seeing so many podcasts and so many people doing it now, you do get discouraged. And it's like, oh, I've been doing this 10 plus years and my numbers aren't showing like this person who's talking about this topic. And it
Right.
goes back to, you know, what's for you is for you.
Yes.
That one video will pop off. and when you least expect it. You know what I'm saying? So for me, I've seen social media evolve so much in the media space, and also being behind the scenes as a talent booker. Like, I've seen the space go from, okay, and how networks speak on company, on projects. I've seen it all. So it's just a part of the business. It is what it is, kind of deal. Like, just you have to learn how to evolve and pivot. And I'm
Mhm.
really big on learning how to pivot.
Yes.
Hmm.
Yes. And I think that's just a part of being a successful entrepreneur. You've been an entrepreneur for many years. I've been an entrepreneur, and it doesn't end. It doesn't stop.
No.
I don't I don't think there's been a time where I haven't been uncomfortable,
Yeah. Like, when I'm comfortable, like, I feel weird.
right? Right?
Yeah.
And so, I've learned to accept the uncomfortableness because I know that I'm growing, expanding. And also when we talk about manifestation, let's speak on this. I feel like being uncomfortable and moving out of your comfort zone expands your capability to receive.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I'm ready.
Absolutely. No, literally. I mean, even when I got Mel Robbins Show, I was living in LA. Like, I just happened to talk to a lawyer one day at a conference event after the Steve Harvey Show wraps. And she was like, "Oh, so what are you going to do next after the show?" And I said, "Well, I've been following this lady, Mel Robbins, and I like her content. I see that she has a talk show." She was like, "Oh, I'm actually the lawyer of the show.
Oh
Let
my
me
goodness.
send you let me send your resume to the EP." And that happened so quickly for me. And I mean, just I I don't know. It was just like God just blessed
Yeah.
me and put me in these random rooms with people that I couldn't have imagined. I had wrote on my 10-year plan. I have a 10-year plan that I created back in 2014. Was it 2014 that we did it? Yeah, 2014. And I wrote down in 2019, I'm going to move to New York. I was just very like,
And you did it.
just wrote, I did it randomly. And I moved in 2019, which is crazy. So
I
things
love
like
that.
that is just crazy.
You
Yeah.
know, but I believe it because I pull out my old journals from, under my bed, and then I start reading them, and then I forget. I'm like, oh my gosh, I actually wrote that down. Well, that happened. And there's power in the pen.
Yes.
And I I'm excited to say that I achieved everything that I wanted to achieve. My 30-year-old self achieved everything that I wanted to achieve to this point, and now
Yeah.
there's a whole landscape open for me, and I'm like, okay, what's next?
I
It's
love
it's
that.
it's exciting,
Yeah.
and we do get to create the life we live based on our thoughts, our choices, our action. And I love how you said it takes action. Do you think it takes massive action?
Well, that's a great question. I don't know. It depends on what it is,
That's
like, because you can manifest small stuff, like
true. Yes, we
stuff
can.
that's not really, really big.
Well, you manifested the Mel Robbins Show.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Randomly.
That's
Yeah.
huge.
Yeah.
And Oprah Network and Steve Harvey,
Yeah.
are those things that you had on your vision board when you
Yes, so yeah, Oprah was on my vision board. When did we create that? 2014, January of 2014. For the new year. It was my first time ever making like a vision board with my friend at the time. And I put Oprah on there, and then the following year I put Steve Harvey on there.
nice.
And January of 2014 we made that. In April of 2014 I was an intern for her network. So it was just crazy. And I like vision boards because you can visually see it.
Yeah,
But it's so much powerful when you have that pen and paper though.
yeah, and both.
Yeah.
I mean, I've done
Yeah.
both concurrently, the pen and paper, the vision board. It's funny
Yeah.
because we did a family project. We did, the old school way. Like, I got a poster board, and we got magazines, and we did a family
Mhm.
night, and we made a vision boards. And so mine's hanging in the dining room, and that was maybe 8 months ago, and when I walk by it, I'm like, "Oh my gosh, it's
Wow.
amazing what's come up, in my life based on what I put on the vision board." So,
I love that.
me too, and I
Yeah.
love people who we can have these conversations with that don't think you're nuts.
Yeah. Do you feel like the digital vision board works? Have you done that before?
I have,
Mhm.
and I've done it in, what's that? Oh my god,
Canva,
Canva and Pin Pin anyway,
Pinterest. Yeah.
Pinterest.
Yeah.
So I've done it in the I like to use my hands.
Yeah, same, same.
I like to use my
Yeah.
hands, and I know it was hard to find the magazines, but there's magic in that creativity. I don't think there's anything wrong with the digital board. It's just there's
Mhm.
something with the creativity, with cutting the pictures out that works for me.
Yeah, same. I agree.
So we as entrepreneurs, there's going to be ups and downs. And even,
Mhm.
when you're manifesting and you're creating what you want, there are going to be times that we're in the wilderness.
Yeah.
How do you navigate when you're in the wilderness, when you're going through a storm and you're feeling
Whew.
discouraged?
Yeah. So 28 to 30 was really hard for me. Those last 2 years of my 20s were very eye-opening as far as like my career and what I wanted and foresaw for my life. With the pandemic, that happened. I was back in LA and I was comfortable. I got an opportunity to work on the Nick Cannon daytime talk show to come back to New York. And at the time, I was an entrepreneur fully. I was fully in
Yeah,
after the Mel Robbins yeah, I was
BFF.
full yes, with BFF, and I was, um, completely locked in, and I got a call to come back, as a booking producer, and it was really risky because I'm like, "Well, I'm making money as an entrepreneur, but it's also, an opportunity that I thought was for me," so I moved back to New York, and then we filmed, and the show ended up getting canceled. We found out on the internet, and I was devastated because I had picked up my entire life to go back when I was thriving and doing so good financially. And so when you take a big financial L, it's traumatizing, especially the first time you lose out on thousands of dollars, because moving across country is, not
Not
cheap.
easy.
Yeah. And by yourself, yeah, I have my family, like people support me, but I have to fund my life. So that was very risky. And I was in a really dark place because you don't realize like how much you think something's for you, and it goes back to that, like, do I take this opportunity, do I take every opportunity? And it was a life lesson because now I'm very picky about what opportunities I take just from taking that big risk,
Mhm.
and losing out on thousands of dollars. So I was like, yeah, so this was a life lesson.
Right?
Bianca, you need to stop. I mean, I don't want to say I'm not as risky, but I definitely thoroughly think out decisions now.
Well,
Yeah.
I think you hit some points. You're
Mhm.
discerning, and, earlier you talked about being intentional and
Mhm.
going into your sacred space to, spend time with yourself to make those decisions. And I really feel even the most challenging times bring oppor opportunities and lessons. So the
Yes.
question is, what yes, you said it was a lesson, but there's always something better that comes out of the situation. What was the
Yeah.
something better that came out of the situation of you moving to New York?
Um, I think I ended up making that money back. I ended up getting a better job opportunity after that. I did take a break from the entertainment industry for a little bit for my mental sanity. And then I got back in it. And I'm thriving in the space that I am in now. Also met my boyfriend at work, and that's going to be my husband. So, like, I think I was supposed to come back here for a reason, and all my family is back on the East Coast, so like I feel like this is probably where I'm supposed to be, as far as my destination to build a family. I think I was supposed to learn all those things now to build a family.
Yes, that's beautiful. And
Yeah.
and it's now when I look back at life and all of those challenges and the hard times and the dark times, then I connect the dots. I'm like, "Oh, okay, that
Oh.
happened for this to happen," and like when you were ending the Steve Harvey show and you talked to that attorney, well, if you weren't at the Steve Harvey, if you hadn't worked the Steve Harvey show, she wouldn't be there to connect you
Yeah.
to Mel Robbins. So
Mhm.
everything is connected.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it doesn't feel good. Believe me, I just recently had an experience where, for the first time, I also experienced a financial loss. I'm like, ooh, this doesn't feel good all, at all. And I know with certainty that it'll come back because, as we know, money is also energy. So I love how you said,
Yes.
I had this loss and then I recouped it.
Yeah.
And so something that we talked about is, I love your confidence and the belief in yourself. So how are you able, especially in the media industry,
Mhm.
especially being an influencer on social media, how are you able to maintain your confidence and the belief in yourself when there's so much noise and distractions?
Everyone always asks me how am I so confident, and it's honestly I just wardrobe for me. Like I have to look good, feel good, stay
Yeah.
in the gym, stay active.
Mhm.
So that's a lot of where my confidence comes from. And being okay with that, I'm not gonna know everything. And that's okay. As long as I
Totally.
showed up and as long as I showed up and gave the best version of myself. And there's days where I'm gonna be like, you know what, guys, I'm not really feeling it today. And that's okay. And I think confidence just comes with time within and how you feel about yourself. I just learned throughout the media space that people are going to talk about you
Yeah.
whether you're nice or not nice. And at the end of the day, you just have to once again authentically be you. And I also think it's from where I'm from. I'm from Detroit and I grew up with a lot of confident people, men and women.
Mhm.
So I think it's just like being from where I'm from, we're naturally like that. I don't know.
I love that.
Yeah.
Why do you think you were naturally confident? Like you grew up in an environment where people were just naturally confident.
Yeah, like my whole family just slay. Like they eat it up.
Oh, yeah. I
Like
love
I've
that.
yeah, I love like all my friends growing up, all my family members were like bosses. And so I
Hell
feel
yeah.
like that yeah, I feel like that was just like something given to me. I don't know.
Ugh,
I don't
I
know.
love
Yeah. Yeah.
and it's so important, for us, especially as women, to own our confidence and
Mhm.
to own our self-worth
Yeah.
because we are powerful. And I feel like oftentimes we dim our light to make
Mhm.
other people feel comfortable when in reality, it's not helping anyone.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's okay. And I know that sometimes when a woman is confident and strong, she's called the B word.
Yep.
And however, and I love men, this is not bashing men, but when a man shows up confident and strong, he's like, he's a G. So
Yeah.
we need to own that
Mhm.
part of us and be okay with it. And like you said, people are going to talk no matter what,
Yeah.
media industry or not in the media industry. And so,
Facts.
and you said going back to like, who you are.
Mhm. Yeah.
So was there a time that you took something, something someone said personal and you just kind of ruminated on it? How did you overcome that?
I was working on a talk show and this lady, she was like, Bianca, you have RBF. And I was like, what's that? Like, I had never heard that before.
Oh, yeah.
And she was like, oh, you have a resting bee face. And so I always kept that in my head because people always say you always look mean or you look stuck up or you
I
look like a
know
B
too,
word.
like,
I
oh,
know.
I'm like, "What?"
And so then I always have to be like, sometimes, and I'm gonna stop doing this because sometimes I will bring it up and say, I know I look like a bitch, but it's okay. Sorry, I didn't mean to cuss. But
You can
uh
cuss.
yeah, I'm sorry I may look like a bee, but I'm really not. I'm actually really nice. I hate that I have to bring
Right.
that up and I'm gonna stop doing that.
Yes, girl.
But needless to say, I created a book out of that because I feel like all my life I've been misunderstood. And so I realized that I can't just dim my light for you because you don't feel confident within yourself. And I've learned that that's a you thing, not a me thing. And I think therapy has helped with that a lot too. So now I'm in the space of like, this is who I am. Like,
Yes. Ooh, I love that. And it's
yeah.
true because 'cause I've done the
Mhm.
same. I've dimmed my light not to make, the other person feel better. And you're right,
Yeah.
it's a you thing, not a me
Mhm.
thing. And that's something I've also had to work on because, okay, well, what if I show up and I'm too strong? Because my mom used to say, "You're too independent. Like nobody's gonna like you, nobody's gonna want you." And so then I'd always, dumbed down.
Yeah.
And that's not true. And if you don't like me, that's okay. I
Yep.
want to own my power, because then it can maybe be an inspiration to a young girl who's watching, who's interested in being an entrepreneur. So
Hmm.
that's a hard one.
Absolutely. Yeah. And then
Just
the independent is a hard one too. You know, when people say you're super independent, you're hyper independent, and it's like, well, I gotta do it. Like, you
right.
know?
Right. And,
Yeah.
and my mom was, and she'd be like, well, no man's going to want you because you're so independent. Well, thankfully, I have a husband who appreciates, my independence, because it's just, I like, I like it. And then here, does anyone want to say like, you're too masculine?
Yes. Oh, yeah, I got that. I'm
Okay.
masculine energy.
Right.
You're super hyper independent. You don't need no man for nothing. No man's going to date you. You need to be more domestic. And my man loves me. So,
So I'm owning my masculine energy. It's okay. I got both. I have masculine and
yes.
feminine energy. I'm not afraid anymore to show up in my masculine energy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And
Yep.
sometimes also, it depends on the man too, because you can be masculine in a workplace, but come home and be very feminine because your
Yes.
man has allowed you to be soft.
Yes. I love that.
yeah.
This or that. It's this and
Mhm.
that,
Yep. Absolutely.
which which I love that. So that's what I'm
Yeah.
doing. I'm owning my masculine. So what if we're independent? It's not a bad
Yes.
thing.
Yeah.
You do so much, and tell us a little bit about your foundation and giving back.
Yeah, so the Bianca Bee Foundation we started back when I was like 19. So it's been a long time and my goal is to relaunch that, in the future. But for me, all of my content is all about, helping young girls who are coming from where I'm from who may not see an opportunity and just giving them advice to create opportunities for themselves no matter how you look or what you feel like about yourself that you can make it. It's
Yeah,
okay. You can make it in this industry. So
I
that's
love
all of my content is. It's like giving back, but also, still implementing my lifestyle and my funness and that I like working out. I like going out and having a good time and, networking and things like that. So
No, it's fun. I mean, I'm in
yeah.
this gym every day, and it's about not only being emotionally, mentally, and financially fit, but we also need to be spiritually and physically fit.
Yes.
It all goes together for us to continue to expand and grow and to give back, because you can't give from an empty cup.
Yes. Absolutely.
And it takes energy to do what we're doing, and to stay on top of the business, because you have several businesses. You don't
Yeah.
just have one business.
Yeah. And I also have a real job too, so
Yes. And in a difficult industry, and the media industry is not easy. You have to be
yeah.
on top of your game, you know, consistently. So
Yeah.
my hat goes off to you. I mean, you've definitely done an incredible, incredible job of just continuously showing up with incredible content and just slaying
Okay.
it.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you too. So tell us the fun stuff. What beauty trends are you seeing?
Ooh, beauty trends. I'm kind of liking the like no makeup look, like the natural. Like I don't know, I feel like people are getting back into the natural
Hmm?
makeup look and like less now. You
Less
don't
is
see it. Yeah, like people are embracing their, slick back bun,
hmm?
baby hairs, nice
Love
beat,
that.
mascara. Yeah.
I love with the white tee and
Yes.
tennies. My mom would
Yes.
never let me leave the house with tennies, or, she'd be like, "You gotta put your red lipstick on." But,
Yes.
actually, not today, I have the red lipstick, but I've been loving just embracing, like, the nude lip. I would
Yeah.
never have done that in the past, and
Yeah.
this it feels just, authentic.
Yes.
So, what's next for you, sweetheart?
It's a little buzz, sorry. Uh,
What's next? What's the vision for you? What's new and exciting on the horizon?
I definitely wanna get back into the space of, like, one-on-one interviews and being actually in person.
Mhm.
So I finally found a podcast studio that I really, really like, so my goal is to make everything back in person like how I did many years ago. And just staying active and really taking care of my health. I think I've been a real advocate this past few months about therapy and working out. And so really staying on the course of that. I'm not writing any books this year. I've written 3, so I want to take a little break and experience more of life. And just keep putting out good content and just engaging with people like yourself and other entrepreneurs, and really taking care of like learning more of knowledge in the business space, because I've always dibbled and dabbled into entrepreneurship, but my goal in the future is to go all in, like full time, when I'm ready.
What does all in look like for you?
I mean, for yourself, you've been doing it 25 plus years.
Yes.
Like with entrepreneurship, you either got to be all the way in, because dibbling and dabbling, you won't give the best of you, I feel like. And it's very risky, and I still love the film industry. I love what I do, but when you pivot to full-time entrepreneurship, you got to go all in. And so I feel like I needed to learn more of the business side. I feel like I was just always a risk taker and emotional. Now it's time to really dive into logistics now that I'm in that space. Yeah.
I love that. And I have no doubt that you will do that and create even more amazing. I mean, you're so inspiring, what you've done, what you've manifested, and it's inspiring. And I know that our audience will definitely be inspired by the actions you've taken to create the life that you have. I want to leave you with one last question. Working in the media industry and working with big names like Mel Robbins and Steve Harvey, what was the challenge in working with big names like that? And what lesson did you take away?
I think knowing your friendship circle, like, are people really talking to you because they want to be your friend, or do they want a networking opportunity to be on TV? So I had to distinguish that. And I also felt like in certain spaces, I had to learn how to pivot. And, I had to really learn how to pivot in my industry very often and staying on top of it and building those connections. But I feel like with Mel, I always speak on Mel Robbins because I just genuinely love her. She's a great person.
I love her.
She's just incredible. I love that opportunity. But I feel like I really bust my butt off, and sometimes I don't realize it until after the fact. And I think that's something we commonly do, is not like be in the moment of those opportunities. So I wish I would have been more in the moment in those opportunities.
Oh, I love, that's a great nugget. So being more present.
Yeah.
Oh, I know, easier said than done.
Yeah.
Oh, amazing, Bianca. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
joining me today. I appreciate you. And can you tell our audience where they can find you?
Yeah, you guys can follow me at It's Bianca Bee, at Bianca Bee Show, youtube.com/Bianca Bee Show.
Yes, and we will also share that. So definitely keep your eye out on Bianca Bee, because she's amazing. And I know there's going to be more amazing coming from you, Bianca. I appreciate you. And as always, like, share, and subscribe so we can continue to bring you incredible guests like Bianca Bee. All right, Annie, have a great evening.
Bye.
Hey, love, thank you so much for listening today. I am so grateful for you. I'd like to show you my appreciation by gifting you a free forgiveness self-hypnosis audio download. Part of living the fun and fabulous life is practicing forgiveness. Forgiveness can be such a long and challenging process. My intention is that this forgiveness audio will help you in practicing forgiveness, especially with yourself. Grab it by visiting daretoachieve.com/forgiveness. For more inspiring tips, make sure to connect with me on social media. Drop me a line on Facebook or Instagram at Grace Redman Dare to Achieve. Until next time, keep moving forward towards living your fabulous life.